So you are working on popular culture in America.
Yes.
What kind of popular culture? Around which time, which epoch?
So my dissertation was on from 1960s or late 1950s to the present day, popular music artists, and really truly popular music artists, is in that they had to be very active on the popular music charts and sort of household names, people that you really knew about. And I took one artist per decade to look at how the artist in that decade interacted with environmental topics. You know, the environmental movement started mainly in the 60s in the US, and I wanted to see how this was reflected in popular music. Was it reflected? Were environmentalists working with popular music stars, or why did a pop musician decide to sing about the environment? It's not necessarily a commercially lucrative choice. So, environmentalism is quite anti-commercial, actually. And so how these two very competing structures of environmental ideas and ideologies interacted with a highly commercialized and mediated field of popular music.
What is the most popular song on environmentalist field?
Okay, the most popular one is Michael Jackson's Earth Song.
Ah, yes.
Yes. It's a useful example, but a controversial one as well, because I think Michael Jackson was by no means an environmentalist. So there are other artists that I study that are much more active and much more committed to the cause. And I think Michael Jackson is useful because he chose environmentalism following all the pedophilia scandals in the early 90s and some personal career crises. Environmentalism was a very safe choice for him. It wasn't civil rights. It wasn't women's rights. And it shows how easy it is for popular culture to co-opt environmentalism. Parts of environmentalism are quite radical. I mean, a lot of the critiques of society about growth and, really changing the way we interact in the world, these are not safe. But things like recycling and, saving the rainforest, this is something that many people say is a good idea. And for Michael Jackson, it was a very strategic decision that he really took this song. I think he was interested in the earth, but it wasn't one of his main focuses. And this really was to recast his image. So he used environmentalism to change the way people thought about him.
And perhaps the other example, because Michael Jackson is so well known that it is not very...
So another example that's... I also looked at the group REM, for example.
Yes.
They were mainly quite active in the 80s. I mean, they were active all the way up till 3 years ago when they disbanded. But their main time that I looked at was the 1980s. And they don't have a song necessarily, but they were environmental activists. So they were one of the first groups to tour with Greenpeace. So they toured with Greenpeace. So Greenpeace had the opportunity to meet the fans that came to these concerts. They talked about it on stage. They forced their record company to agree to these things. This is not in the interest of a record company. A record company doesn't care if Greenpeace is there. It's not profitable for them. It's kind of almost the opposite, in fact. But REM was so successful that they were able to use these structures of popular culture to serve their own interests. So I like them as kind of a good counterexample of a group that really is taking what popular culture offers, which is mass appeal and mass access, and to use it in the service of something like environmentalism.
Thank you very much.